Hey guys, Blocktrain here with another coin review, and today I wanted to talk about OmiseGo, or OMG for short. Now this is one of the most ambitious projects hands down in the crypto world. Basically what they're hoping to accomplish is they want to unbank the bank. So in a nutshell, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the inefficiencies in the payment markets right now incredibly more efficient and seamless with blockchain. So, for example, let's say you went to a restaurant, right, and you're using a credit card, an American Express credit card, and you go to pay, and they say, sorry, we don't accept Amex here. And that's one of the most frustrating things, at least for me. And it's really just because there are a lot of different companies, different banks, different credit card companies, different payment processing companies, and they all have to work together and agree on terms when working with each other while also having to make a profit. And so because of that, there can be inefficiencies in the market. There can be, kind of worse terms between different payment providers based on relationships, and you're really at the mercy of these people just because it's really not an option not to be banked or not to have a credit card or a debit card right now. And the idea is that with the OMG network, you're not getting rid of these payment processors, but what you're doing is they're decreasing the power or influence that they have over money transactions. Through OMG and their decentralized exchange, the idea is it doesn't matter which payment processor you use because OMG is the payment processor. Every payment processor that exists right now should be able to connect to the OMG blockchain, and is basically just a ledger for all the world's transactions. Now that sounds crazy and incredibly ambitious, and that's because it is. But if they can pull it off, OMG will potentially be one of the biggest, the biggest coin out there. So now I'm going to go into the technical details. Something I want to explain first is that in the white paper, I think it's like 16 pages long. It's very convoluted, lots of details. At the same time, because this is such a huge project, they don't have a lot of the technical details out there yet. Now, OMG is still very much a project that's very early in development. And so when I'm explaining this, I might be, not going into as much detail as you think I might, that I might go into based on other projects. And that's just because OMG in general doesn't have too much description of how exactly their system is going to work yet. Nothing has really been released yet. But that's not to say that it won't be released or that they're doing a bad job. It's just that we're working with, us, the consumer, we're working with limited knowledge right now. And really, that's the price we pay for being able to get into a project like this so early. So in this video, really what I'm trying to do is I want to explain the information that we have for what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do it. And then their team, their vision, and their partnerships to show, how far along they are, why you should trust them, and at the end, what metrics you should be using to see how well they're doing. And, how successful you think they're going to be to judge success. So first, let's get into the technical details of it just a little bit. So these four things are really the biggest, technical aspects. I'm really only going to talk about these three. So, and they all work together, so I'm going to be bouncing between all three of them. So I'll first just explain very briefly what they all are. So OMG has this e-wallet. The idea is that this wallet can hold all types of different currencies that it's optimized for. And so that's what's a digital asset gateway. You can use the OMG network and the e-wallet to access, manage, and transact with digital assets. And they're kept on-chain. And then you have the white label SDK. Now, you have the e-wallet, and this is the wallet that OMG is going to make. It's the wallet that, the OMG team codes. They have certain currencies that they feel are more important, that they feel that more people use, and so that's their priority. But let's say you're making your own cryptocurrency, or even you're just a retail store that wants to make their own rewards point system. What you can do is you can code your own wallet that can interact with the OMG blockchain and platform. And essentially you can make whatever you've created a currency that can be transacted on the OMG blockchain. For example, You know, when you go to Walmart or Target, they have, reward point systems. And at the end of the day, these things are just money. Or also, airline miles is a great example. They're just money because you can buy them with money, but you can't sell them for money. So they're just money that's really limited. And you can kind of think of them as really outdated utility tokens. That's how I like to think of them, at least. So the idea is, with this e-wallet, any currency that the OMG team does not support or, is really not on their roadmap because, there's only a certain amount of people on their team. And so they can only do a certain amount of things in a certain amount of time. But because of their open source SDK wallet, you can create your own wallet specific to your, cryptocurrency or your airline miles. And people who use the actual OMG wallet can transact with that other wallet, and it all works over the OMG blockchain. It was cool because the OMG ecosystem can grow even without the OMG team specifically adding functionality to them. Now, the decentralized exchange is really the backbone of the OMG network. So the idea is that all payments will happen on the OMG network, or at least will be recorded on the OMG network. So let's say you have USD and you're in Japan and you have to pay in yen. The store that you're going to buy your groceries only accepts yen. The idea is that once you use the OMG wallet and send it to this other person who's also using the OMG wallet, you can send and receive payments. The idea is that your USD is immediately sold for Ethereum, and then that Ethereum is used to buy yen, and then that transfer goes through. And this all happens on the decentralized exchange, and it should work for all types of different currencies, whether it's Bitcoin for Litecoin, Litecoin for Ethereum, USD to yen, USD to euro, yen to euro. The idea is all these currencies will be eventually supported by the OMG blockchain, and that seamless transactions between all of them can happen on this decentralized exchange. Now, a couple of worry points for these decentralized exchange, just because it's so important to the OMG backbone and platform, is that you really need a certain degree of liquidity to be able to have those fast transactions happening. And if OMG really gets to the point where they want to get, there will be millions and millions of transactions happening every day, and you need a person to match the sell and buy orders every time. So how they're going to deal with that, there are a bunch of proposed solutions in the white paper, or some proposed solutions, which is banking partners who will be able to provide liquidity even if there's no person actively willing to sell or buy. And I think that's actually one of the things that make the most sense. And recently they actually partnered up with Shinhan Banks, which is like one of the biggest banks in South Korea apparently. So I think that's a really great way to provide liquidity. There are also smart contracts, which have to do with locked up funds, maybe with increased profits. This is just my own idea, and they also mentioned smart contracts in the white paper, so I was just thinking about how they could use it. But I'm sure there are a variety of ways they could achieve this, but at the end of the day, what they need is for this system to run flawlessly, for there to be no liquidity problems or, long transaction times just because you couldn't get those buys and sells off on the decentralized exchange. That's really what you should be looking for when you're evaluating how OmiseGo is doing. Look at the system behind the decentralized exchange. I think that's the most important thing. So those are the three I really want to talk about. The clearinghouse is kind of a subset of the decentralized exchange, as far as I know. Is that it's the way they process transactions, because it's a decentralized exchange and there's no centralized entity making the trade. You have to use this clearinghouse, which basically uses a smart contract with multiple game theory types of systems to ensure, hey, payment will go through, and if somebody is a bad actor, then they will be punished accordingly. So a lot of technical details there. I don't really want to get into it. It's really pretty. Not standard stuff, but pretty normal stuff for any decentralized exchange, and they all go about it in different ways. So the next thing I want to talk about is the OmiseGo team. So first thing to note is that OmiseGo is actually just kind of a subset project of the Omise company, which is a payment gateway that operates in Thailand and around Southeast Asia and Asia. And, they have millions/billions in transactions, so they're a pretty notable and big company. So this gives them a lot of legitimacy, in my opinion, just because they have an innate familiarity with the ecosystem of payment gateways, banks and payment providers. They understand how all of it works, they understand where the problem points are, and they understand how blockchain can solve those. And I think that's a great thing to see, is that they've already been operating since 2013. They're already established even before they made OMG. Oh, also, their ICO, they got $25 million, which was their cap, even though they definitely could have made more than that. And they all got it in a private sale, which means that private investors already bought in all that 25 million, so no public investors could actually get in, which speaks to how strong the project is and how many connections the team has. So the team itself, the CEO and COO of OmiseGo are also the CEO and COO of Omise, so, basically the same company, same team. Pretty reputable, everything good there. But what's really cool is that their advisors, Joseph Poon, Vitalik Buterin, and Gavin Wood, are all really notable figures in cryptocurrencies, and specifically Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Poon. They're the CEO, or authors, the heads of both projects, the Lightning Network and the Plasma Network, respectively, and Ethereum for Vitalik Buterin. And it's cool that they have them as advisors because, number one, it signals that there's a lot of faith in OMG from notable people like Vitalik Buterin or Joseph Poon, but also that because OMG is trying to implement Plasma and Lightning Network to a certain extent. And it's just great to see that they have the original creators of those on board for them to consult and ask questions and work with. And that's why I have a really good feeling for what they're going to do in terms of scaling, especially with, Vitalik Buterin's idea of sidechains, Plasma, Bitcoin's Lightning Network. OMG is really pulling out all the stops with the most talented people in the crypto space in order to manage the amount of transactions that they're hoping to have in the future. So scaling is also a really important thing to be looking at for OMG. Like I said, it's one of the most ambitious projects out there, and if they're successful, they will have millions and billions, maybe even trillions of dollars just going across their network. So, having a team that's already experienced and advisors that already, or advisors that are very closely connected with the programs or systems that they're trying to use is a very good sign, in my opinion. So now let's talk about OMG's partnerships. So here's the cool thing about OMG is that if you look at my other coin reviews, I like to talk about how partnerships kind of indicate how good the team is, just because really bad coins will have partnerships that are kind of out of nowhere. You don't really understand why they're partners. But what's good and bad about OMG is that because they're so intricately tied with payments, literally anything to do with money can be dealt with OMG. So almost any company, because all companies deal with money, can and will partner with OMG. But so, if we look at this list, it doesn't really matter what they do. You have a cement and building company right here. But that can still be pretty useful for OMG just because they can offer services on the OMG network. You can buy and sell. It's just, you can do anything on the OMG network. McDonald's Thailand, just huge just because, they're going straight to retail in the sense that you can use the OMG network actually to process transactions for something as big as McDonald's, as many transactions as McDonald's has. So I'm not going to walk through all of these. There's just too many to name. It's just really cool how many really big market cap or really big companies are involved with OmiseGo and hoping to use the OmiseGo's network. Just signals a lot of faith in OMG. But at the same time, a good question to ask, I think, is that really how involved are these companies, even though they're partners or, somewhat involved with OMG? Are they actively working with OMG? Have they just said, okay, we're interested in this as a product. If you come out with it and it works well, then we'll use it. That's really the question here. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about was just OmiseGo's price. Just as a final kickoff of, what OMG is, what you should be looking when you're buying it. So, let's see. So in July, the market, the ICO started, and they have a circulating supply of around 100 million coins. Total supply is 140 million, and the market cap is about 1 billion. So it's fairly high. But again, crypto is still really young, and OMG is one of those projects where even if every other coin fails, if OMG succeeds, the market cap by itself could be in the billions, in the trillions. Just because of, again, what they're hoping to do. They're just the payment infrastructure for the entire world. It's crazy, crazy ambitious. So the price, for the most part, it followed the trends of basically every other coin out there. There's really nothing, even though OmiseGo when you research it, seems like such a different and such an ambitious coin, it still follows the market trends. It's an ERC20 token. It'll follow Ethereum as well. And also, it's just a side note, something to look at with OMG is also because they're hoping to continuously have a relationship with Ethereum, it means that Ethereum needs to succeed for OMG to succeed unless they move to their own blockchain. Just because, every coin out there or every platform coin out there is really hoping to, implement their own scaling solution. And if Ethereum scaling solution doesn't work out, who knows what will happen to OMG. So Ethereum and OMG are pretty intrinsically tied, so you should be looking at both of them when you're evaluating OMG success. So right now the price is at around 950, 960, which is, let's see where it was at that last time. So last time it was at 960 was around the start of December, right before this insane bull run. You guys all know, what happened to this bull run, but the price went up about two times, a little bit more than 2 times since the price right now. Is it a good time to get in? Honestly, I don't know. But just know that the market cap is fairly high. It could dip lower, but the potential market cap that you will get if OMG is successful is just miles ahead of whatever $9. And something to be looking at is, how long will it take for OMG to get to that point, Because let's be honest, we're all in here for the money to a certain degree. We all want to know, or we should all be looking at when to expect to get returns on our money. And for OMG is probably an incredibly long-term coin. You're not going to see a $1 trillion OMG coin in the next year. That's just unreasonable. They have a lot of functionality that they still need to, put out there, and they have a lot of adoption that still needs to happen. That said, they're in a really good position to be, the first mover, the market leader in the space that they're working in. And who knows, in 10 years, maybe every single payment happening will be on the OMG blockchain. That's the potential of this platform. And like I said before, even though there's a lot of uncertainty right now, just because we don't have that much information and OMG is still really young, that's the trade-off for having such a low price, only $9. If it gets to a point of serious adoption, it could be $300, $400, who knows. The idea is that we're paying less because we have less information. The more information we have, the more we have to pay, just because everybody else also has that information. So, is this a good bet? It's as good as a bet as any for any good coins in crypto. For the most part, I've only done coin reviews of what I consider good coins, and I think it has as good of a chance as any of those coins. Actually, probably not true. Probably a little bit less of a chance, just because of how ambitious they are, and what problem they're trying to solve. But at the same time, there's no reason not to have faith in this team. There's no reason to not expect them to succeed, other than just the fact that, what they're doing is so ambitious and huge. So I hope you guys enjoyed this coin review. And I think OMG is probably, out of all my coin reviews, probably one of the most confusing coins. Just because, number one, the scope of what they're trying to do. But number two, also because, they don't have that much implementation yet. So, you don't have a wallet that you can go into and see exactly how it'll work. There are some videos out there that you should definitely go check out. But No, there's no way to fully experience exactly what Omise is trying to do yet, and I think that can contribute to the confusion just because the only way to make sense of what's going on is through something like the white paper, which is incredibly hard to read and very convoluted. A great white paper, don't get me wrong, but, not good for people who, who can't really decipher those just because, again, it's not for everybody. Not everyone is going to take, the 1 or 2 hours it takes to, Google all these terms and really find out what they're trying to say. So that said, shoot me a question down if you have any questions in the comment section, or if you have any comments, criticism, ideas, or, any new coin reviews that I want to do or videos that I should make. All are welcome, and thank you guys for watching my video.